Bringing the vision into a mission. This is Global Mission of Peace with the GoldFish Report on September 25th, 2015. So I'm Radagast, and I am joined by a nice panel today. We have Louisa, our media outreach person.
Hello, everyone.
We have Sherry with Your Right to Know and her Right to Know show.
Good day. Thanks for joining us.
We have special guest Anna Quiroga, who will be sharing her experiences with us.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have a special guest, Bo, who is an intuitive healer.
Hi, everyone.
And we also join by the ambassador, Voice of the Dragon.
Thank you very much and welcome everyone. And I just want to turn my attention again to Anna here to start with. Anna has been in Hong Kong and in China, as we know. And we will, want to hear her little testimony of her trip and how she went there, and she met with a doctor that helped her in Hong Kong, and then she went to China to do the floating. And so I'm really excited to hear her story about the floating, because she is one of the people who have done the 7 days floating. And so we would like to really hear her testimony, how that is and how it has affected her health and her life. And people who haven't seen her before, but I have seen her before, and she's really radiating since this thing. So it's quite amazing, and I'm very happy for that. And I really hope that I can radiate the same way very soon. Thank you very much, and continue, and welcome now, Anna, and tell your story.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to share my experience, the floating experience. And basically, it's been, I spent 2 weeks, and we went to Hong Kong. We stayed there for a couple of days. Then we went to visit Dr. Young, that he is a doctor that he specializes in bones. He's like an orthopedic physician. And he provided massages, and he checked on all of us. We were having different pains. I was having like back pain, and he provided treatment, some electrical stimulations, and he also provided some medication. It was like a green plant, and he was putting like patches on all over, wherever we were having pains. Then after that, that was the day before, we started the first day treatment for the floating treatment. And we met with Mr. RD in Shenzhen. We went from Hong Kong to Shenzhen, China. And then right after that, we had dinner with Mr. RD. And then that day he told me, Anna, this is the last day you're going to have this meal. Tomorrow you're going to have to eat only fruits and drink a lot of water, because that was the beginning of my detox. So then I did that. And then we start the first day, the following day, we start drinking the SSG water. This is the part of the treatment. You drink the SSG water along with regular water, and you have to incorporate exercise during the treatment, the 7 days treatment. He recommended 2 or 3 times a day exercise. And I was doing the floating experience. I was doing twice per day, and a couple of days I did 3 times. When I did the 3 times floating, I have to drink the 3 times a bottle of the mineral SAG water. And when I did it twice per day treatment, each treatment was 45 minutes. And it was a total of 14 treatments, each one 45 minutes each. And I'm just going to give you some data of the health program, the SAG program. I started my weight with 85 kilograms. And I end up with 78.3 kilograms. I lost about 13 pounds, which I was very, very happy for that, because it's been a really problem for me to lose this weight. So in this week, I was able to lose 13 pounds in a healthy way. As far as my body fat, I started with 53.0. That was my initial body fat, and I ended with 50. My water was at 32.3, and I increased that by 34.3. My muscle went from 22.8, and I decreased it now to 24.1. My bone density, it was a 9.4. And after the treatment, the 7-day treatments, it went up to 9.5, which this is great. The calorie intake, I started with 20.40, and it went down to 1965, which is more or less what I'm consuming now. Then my high blood pressure, it was out of control. Like I stated yesterday, it was 161/89. And now I'm happy to say that I'm normal, 117/63. My heart rate was at 92, and now it's normal, 70, sometimes 65 to 70. So that's very, very great. And also my blood sugar, it was like a 5.2, and it went down. I highly recommend this treatment for everybody. And it's not because of the benefit that we have when it comes to the health itself, but when it comes to a long-term goal, like I was speaking with Mr. Ardi, it's not that you're just going to learn how to eat healthy, how to do your exercise on a daily basis, because within 7 days, you are able to take any type of, like I was addicted to my coffee, and I was drinking my coffee every single day without skipping one day. And now I'm happy to say that I'm not drinking coffee anymore, which that was one of the things that I also wanted to get rid of my system. I didn't want no coffee. And I have my bottle of water next to me all the time, and I'm drinking more and more water. The experience itself, you have to be very, very strong to go through this experience, especially if you had never fasted in your life. Because you're not going to be able to eat for 7 days. Also, another challenge was the use of the bathrooms in China, because they're very different from our bathrooms here in America. So you have to be very strong when it comes to, if you have something in your mind, if you want to do something, especially for this program, you have to stick to the rules and follow the guidelines, and you will see the benefits of it, which in this case, I would recommend it for everybody. Especially in my case, I work in a hospital. I see so many diseases every single day. So I will definitely continue talking about this experience. And if somebody will ask me again, Anna, will you do it again? And my answer will be yes, definitely. I will do it again. And basically that was my experience. And I will recommend it. I highly recommend it for everybody to do this.
That's wonderful, Anna. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Sherry has had a little bit of an experience with this floating box as well. And maybe I saw Sherry. We had you on the GoldFish Report the next day, and you were glowing. So even after one treatment, I know that something happened to you. Do you want to tell us about it?
Sure. Actually, I'll share that. And I have some questions for Anna really quick too, since she did it for 7 days. I did it for one time for about an hour. And it was a really wonderful experience. I'm sure, Anna, one of the things someone mentioned right away, my husband said, "Oh, your skin is so soft." And there are other really great things. Now, RD, he actually showed us some pictures on a PowerPoint that of him before and after, and it didn't even look, I was like, is that the same person? And this is in like 7 days. He had a picture of him with shorts on and no shirt, sort of a side view. And when you can see it from before and after, it's amazing. And he showed how you lose fat, but you do not lose muscle. And also the benefits of the blood pressure going down, etc. Some quick questions for you, Anna. I've done fasting before, probably over the last 20 years. And when I do a fast, it's a 10-day fast. It's 3 days at the end breaking fast. But 7 days of fasting. and in that we every hour and a half have like a drink. I'll make a fresh juice, with organic vegetables and some fruits sometimes. But you're talking about working out now, and you were talking about working out once, twice, sometimes 3 times a day. What kind of workout? Is it a light workout? And is that for detoxing and sweating? It's just interesting that that they have that physical activity when you're going through this fast where you're really, it sounds like you're not eating much, but drinking the special mineral salts.
Yes, and actually it was very much needed in my case, because right after you drink the water, you have like a lot of energy. You go floating, then you get out of those after 45 minutes, and then I will go to the hotel. And then right after I get to the hotel, I will still have the energy to go and exercise. I will do 30 minutes, just walking a little bit in the treadmill, or the other one that is the steps. I will go 30 minutes, and I will sweat like, oh my God, a lot of sweat.
Ah, so it's mainly
so
for
it wasn't
the detox.
like very, very strong exercise. 30 minutes. I will do 30 minutes early in the morning at 7 o'clock. I will get my first drink of water, and then I will do the detox. You have to wait a while. Then I will do my 30 minutes. Then I will go and do the floating. And then that was basically the routine on a daily basis.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, I will do another 30 minutes in the treadmill. And then in the night, I will do another 30 minutes. Or maybe just walking around the hotel. Yeah.
Wow. Now, one of the things is, I know it's really hard at first, and a lot of times when you do detoxes like this one, you sort of work 3 days before. Maybe you start getting off the coffee a couple days before. If you don't do that, then when you start like you did, by the second day, and I know you mentioned you had a headache, which is normal. Even if you just stopped drinking coffee and didn't do anything else, you could very well have headaches. But I think I'm wondering if they told you anything to prepare a couple of days before on that to be prepared for the detox.
No, actually, he told me, Mr. Aldi told me, okay, get prepared, just drink fruits and lots of water. And then, of course, that first day when I first drank the first bottle of water, that when my bowel movement started, like 10 times back to back. I mean, it was crazy. Yeah.
Wow! And so you got to eat a lot of fruit. We just want to know if you got to eat something.
Yeah. Now, before, I mean, the day before I start the first day, I start only eating fruits and water. And then by the time that I have the meeting with him, it was in the morning. I have to be there. Then he told me, okay, Anna, we're going to start today. That was when I start drinking the water. And then right after you drink the water, you start flushing. It was a lot of flushing after the water drinking.
Okay. I know it's a challenge, but whenever you do a fast, it's almost like running a marathon. You put yourself up to this huge challenge, and the benefits are just amazing. I'd like to hear later on sometime when we hear from Bo, our intuitive healer. I'm wondering, our mind is sharper when we're fasting. You had mentioned that, Anna. I had the same experience, and you feel better. You have more energy. You have this more carpe diem, type of feeling. And I wonder how much of that is due to, for example, in this case, the minerals, those special minerals, and I'm sure Bo can speak on that, and how much of it has to do with maybe us not putting in our bodies every day food that's really not serving us or not good for us.
And you're absolutely right, because I was amazed. Like, your regular diet, you're used to eating something, that you have to be eating something. And then with this, it's amazing that I didn't feel hungry. And on the contrary, I have this energy, and I wanted to do and go exercise and many things. And it's just all the ingredients, I mean, all the minerals and vitamins and things that this water contains, all the salts, that is amazing. amazing.
Well, Anna, one of the things that Bo is so good at is really breaking all of these things down and helping you to understand, you know, how this whole process works. And this is a good time for Bo to come in and kind of just give us an idea, Bo, of what it is that you do, so that our viewers have an understanding. And then can you just go into a little bit of detail, like we were talking before we started the report, about how you can help us to understand what it is that Anna experienced, pretty much on a metaphysical and also on a physical level, as an intuitive healer as well.
All right, can you hear me?
Just fine.
You can hear me?
Go
Okay, good. Yes, I am. I work as a healer, although I am a witness to healing. I don't do the healing. I do witness. I facilitate with clients, and basically, I am an energy healer, and I use my psychic abilities to read intuitively in a body. I can see many different energies, because everything's just vibrating at different levels. So elementals, for instance, fairies and things like that, vibrate at a particular level. The laws of the universe, which are the laws of magnetism, the laws of Tesla, laws of electricity, vibrate at a very high level. I can see the laws of the universe as well, which takes me into the Akasha, the great Akasha record that's up there. I read the Akashic record in people's bodies, which is every individual has a soul record, and that soul record goes back many lifetimes. I was raised Catholic, so I wasn't raised to believe in past lives, but I have witnessed so many healings in past lives that I know that they simply exist, and that a lot of times people have acute diseases or acute problems, and there are root causes for that. Usually all root causes are in past life. And then there are causes for issues like disease and disorder, and then there are reasons for disease and disorder. And so with Anna, what I was able to intuit was that, one, minerals, trace minerals, are in the planes of existence in our universe. There are many planes of existence, one being the mineral plane, the periodic table, rocks and minerals, all the wonderful vitamins, the mineral intake, trace minerals, so forth. And the minerals are all about support in the body. Your largest center of support is your skeletal system, which is filled with all kinds of calcium and cadmium, all kinds of minerals. You have iron in your blood, another mineral. You have iodine, absolutely needed for the immune and endocrine system. You have many salts, which again regulate the autonomic centers, breathing, and heart rate. I know it sounds very peculiar, but when I understood, and from many thousands of healings that I've done, I started to see a lot of people that would have sodium blocks. And again, a lot of the sodium, at least in the United States, it's been iodized. And so what happens with the sodium is it's not soluble like sea salt. And so when you have lots of fats in the body, for instance, and it gets coated with those salts, it becomes like kidney stones, gallbladder stones, very difficult to pass. And all they are is fat covered with salt. You know, I always recommend for my clients to use sea salt because it's soluble. So a lot of foods that we eat, especially in the United States, you know, takeout and so forth, is filled with the wrong kind of salt. And so a lot of Americans have high levels of salt in their diet. And it's not the proper salt. May not be manganese. One of the things that Anna was talking about is that she started to, again, start to detox, eliminate, and magnesium will do that. Okay, it's wonderful. It literally, you know, gets rid of stuff. If you take large amounts of magnesium, you're going to start to eliminate. It's just what it is. The water that you were taking had many essential minerals in it. I've already asked my high self committees what exactly was in the water. You had so many trace minerals, and each and every one of those minerals has an intelligence, has a job to do in the body. And when a person doesn't feel supported or doesn't know what it feels like to be supported by God or by others, they are not going to absorb the support of minerals. So it's important for a person to have a belief system. The Rugged American thesis, for instance, says you do it all on your own. It's the individual. You don't need help, and if you need support, you're a weakling. That totally goes against the planes of existence with regards to the periodic table in rocks and minerals. Now, if you have poor boundaries with people, you will then start to accumulate metals. Now you have the opposite energy where you're accumulating more minerals, more metals in the body. A lot of the metals will accumulate in the frontal lobe. For instance, as a person gets older and they lose their partner, they lose their main system of support and they start to accumulate metals in the frontal lobe of the brain. And they start to get early energies of Alzheimer's disease because they don't feel supported. Minerals are all about support, and your skeletal system will show you that it is filled with minerals, your blood filled with iron, you have iodine in your body, you have iron in your blood. You are a crystal child, created in the image and likeness of creator of this planet. Everybody on the earth is a crystal child, and the crystal activations have increased on this planet. And once those activations increase, then a person starts to actually get the benefits of wonderful rocks and minerals and their essences of intelligence that feed the body. A lot of the cell receptor sites on many people are now being clogged and coated by lots of different medicines. They are cold pressed with petroleum, and that blocks the cell receptor site from receiving the beneficial nutrients. So what I do in quantum mechanics is what I do is I watch those cell receptor sites get cleared and the nutrients start to go into the body where it needs to go, start to feed the system. And so what I understood when I listened to Anna is that she pretty much had a pH transfusion. She was eliminating and purging all her old pH, would just be like a blood, almost like a blood transfusion. The lymphatic system needs movement to detox. Without it, it will not detox, and it's detoxing through your armpits, the groin, your feet, your ears. And so you were detoxing your system while you were feeding your system with the right trace elements. You were giving support to your system, and you cleared out your pH. I understand that when the pH is very acidic, that there is a program of hate. A lot of us can become bitter. If you watch the news, it'll raise your pH to acidity because there's lots of violence. And so people's pH are raising to acidic rates, and it's causing for lots of different lots of different energies to relieve. A lot of people who have a lot of resentment, for instance, have to eventually go, and the kidneys will not work very well when there's a lot of resentment. And again, there are a lot of treatments for this that, are done for the public. All you have to do is get rid of your programs and the body will heal. And again, for every illness and sickness, there is a mineral or a mineral combination that will heal that. There's also an herbal combination or an herb that will heal any illness. There's also an amino acid combination that will heal any illness or sickness on the planet. It's always been that way, but we've forgotten this knowledge. And again, I don't want to speak any further because I don't want to bogart this show, but I could go on and on. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, Bo, how about the issue of the water itself? There was something special about this water, and Dr. Emoto has done extensive research on water and on the effects of water, and that you should bless your water, and that our consciousness has an effect on water. And is there maybe some placebo effect that could happen here as well, just knowing that you are going into, I think most people do expect some kind of, should I say, improvement in their condition in one way or another. So, or is it not placebo? Is it really that there is some sort of interaction that we don't understand, that maybe you can help us explain really how that happens?
Well, it's well known that the waters from the mountains are pure and clean. If you go to Rainier in Washington, the waters in the streams are they're filled with lots of trace minerals, trace elements. And now, from what I understood from the ambassador, this water came from a specific area and a mountainous region. Also, Shasta is billed for the cleanest water in all of the world. And you have lava tubes that are running from this great mountain, which are natural aquifers that are cleansing the water, detoxing the water, and then the water is filled with minerals. You know, volcanic ash is filled with lots of minerals, huge amounts of minerals. So there's no doubt in the logic that Anna received water that was very powerful. It absolutely is. Our planet is a very powerful and sentient being. It's quite alive, quite capable of taking care of itself, and has vowed to support all men, women, and children through its trace elements, its minerals, and giving off all kinds of wonderful energies to all of humanity.
Let me also ask this. What about let's talk about fat. Okay, body fat. Anna said she lost 13 pounds, and that's great. I mean, in 1 week, who wouldn't want to do that? But what is it about body fat that we don't understand, that in your kind of medical intuitive sense, and in the intuitive healing kind of way, what do we need to understand about fat so that we can deal with fat? And why is it that men don't seem to have cellulite and women do? Do you know about that?
Yes, and what my understanding is that you're asking about the planes of existence, which is our universe has many planes of existence. And that first plane of existence is the plane of rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals are about structure and support. Again, you have your skeletal system. It holds up all the vital organs and glands, the largest organ being the skin. So it's good to have a belief system that you can receive and accept support from God or from others so that you can start to assimilate minerals. The second plane of existence is the plane, again, of whole foods, of herbs. Food is about love. If you block love in your life, then you're not going to absorb those beneficial nutrients from foods. You know, that's why a lot of women, when they break up with somebody they love, they go to Ben and Jerry's and get some ice cream or some chocolate to feel the love, you know. So all whole foods, even the shape of a food, is beneficial to the organ and gland in that shape. I'll tell you, the little zucchini squash, the little gooseneck is perfect for the pancreas. All of the beautiful green onions are wonderful for nerves. It's always been that way. They're in the shape, in the form of the organ and gland which it benefits. It's very powerful to, again, have a belief program that you are loved unconditionally by Spirit, Creator, whatever your higher level source is, what it feels like to experience unconditional love, so you can actually start to absorb the wonderful benefits of whole foods. Now, with regards to fats, the third plane of existence is the plane of human beings and animals. That is the plane, again, of nurturing. It is the plane of amino acids and fats. When a child is breastfed, it bonds with the mother, and that is when the child is developing that ability to break down, again, fats with proteins. So a lot of people have not been nurtured. They don't know what it feels like to even self-nurture themselves. Those are the individuals that will buy so many vitamins and take it one time and don't take it again. The problem is that when somebody loves you, that's a wonderful thing, but when you don't develop the skill of nurturing yourself, it affects the blood flow into the heart. So it's very important for you to self-nurture yourself, to take time to love yourself and nurture yourself, because it's going to affect, again, fats and proteins. Very important to be able to assimilate those. So in the planes of existence, the lower levels of planes are all about the physical body. It's interesting that Anna was saying that the detox in this procedure was 7 days. 7 is the number of physical completions. 9 is the number of spiritual completion. And so 7 is a very popular number, 7 sacraments, it's 7. It's a very interesting energy that, again, that it was delivered in 7, because all numbers also have great significance. It's very special treatment that she received, and absolutely works. So she's a testament to that. And so your pH, Anna's pH, was completely changed. And you can heal with minerals, just like she received, and water,
Well, let me go back to the fat question, because I kind of feel like I'm not clear on something.
Okay.
Why are we accumulating all this fat? I mean, you're saying that our bodies are not, if you have parasites in your body, the parasites eat the nutritious part of the nutrients in the food, and then we're left with, the byproduct of that? Or why are we accumulating so much fat? Because Anna said she could not lose this weight, and she ended up losing the weight. So what was the process? What happened there? Was there a release, or was it the minerals? But what happened there that allowed her to lose that weight, other than she wasn't eating? But it seems to be a lot of weight for 1 week, even if you're not eating.
Well, first of all, she eliminated the unhealthy salts in her body. Okay, those unhealthy salts cause edema, causes the body, again, to have inflammation. And then she started to receive the wealth of the healthy salts. I mean, salt is powerful. I used to think that, when I started to see a lot of people that had sodium blocks, Spirit told me that they had a hate program. So I would ask, was it hate of God, hate of self, hate of mother, hate of father, hate of men, hate of women, hate of love, and hate of life? I started to get hate of life programs. And I said, so why did they hate life so much? They showed me past lives where people were working in salt mines. Day in and day out, just picking at the salt. Every day was a drudgery. And people actually hated life, and that was in their etheric body, which is in their memory banks. And that had to be cleared. Now, it seemed far-fetched to me, but I started to see more and more of it. And the point is that, again, fats hold a lot of emotion. When you're going through an emotional crisis, and the fats in your body are going to start to hold on to, if you have poor boundaries, you will start to accumulate more metals in your body. And so what you start to reach is an imbalance in the body. And so you're not able to, then if you have extra metals because you have poor boundaries, you don't know how to say no to the people you love, you don't know poor boundaries, you don't know how to have a friend, you don't have you don't know how to live without guilt, And so these programs come in and they will block you from, again, losing weight. And then if you have poor boundaries, you're going to get excess parasites. 650,000 parasites. Microscopic, they're bacteria. You can't even see them with the naked eye. But then those parasites will grow and they will become fungus in the body. They're eating all the good nutrients. It's buffet. Basically, they are in your body and they are having buffet. And they're eating a substance that they're feeding off of, and they will eat all kinds of things. They'll eat fats, they'll eat all kinds of different things. It depends. And so you lack the proper combination of the nutrients to break down the fats, so that you can actually assimilate them and get rid of them.
So basically, when someone is really, when you don't have boundaries and people keep putting demands on you and you don't have good boundaries to say no or to stop or whatever, it's basically, almost like a parasite that lives off of you, off of your energy, which is why you're saying you get these parasites in your body. And it's not just an analogy. I mean, it's literally, they kind of start to accumulate. Is that really how that happens?
Absolutely. You have, parasitical people, you attract them. Then you will attract, in quantum, you can attract more bacteria, more heavy metals in your body, more parasitical people, and then you can attract entities. which are spirits.
We have so much to talk. Bo is such a wealth of information on this. She's been doing this healing for so many years, and we're really looking forward to Bo putting some of this information in modules that we're going to be offering on our CBC Global Education site, because folks, this is just stuff you're not going to find anywhere else. And this is but Bo has studied theta healing, SRT healing, all kinds of things, where she really puts her consciousness into the cosmos, so to speak, into quantum, which is the quantum field around us, which Tesla had discovered or informed us about. So this is about learning about the things, like Jesus said, it's the unseen world, and that you need to pay attention to. And just because we're not taught to think about the fact that we have other senses that go beyond our physical senses. We need to learn how to develop that, and then we can connect with the consciousness of the planet, the consciousness of the water, the consciousness of each other, and our collective consciousness, as the ambassador talks about, the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness. This is how we learn to do this. This is an exploration process for all of us, a discovery process. And so the information Bo is sharing with us today is really just fascinating, and it's going to really help us enter into this new paradigm, the shift and change, because we have to go beyond the paradigm we've been living in, just thinking that there's a physical solution for all physical problems. It's not. It's on the etheric, it's in the astral, it's in quantum. So we can start to see that it's actually so much more simple than we understand. So we're talking about in another report how cancer is a fungus. Really billions of dollars from the Cancer Association that they raise, and we can't learn how to kill a fungus. That's another conversation.
Well, Louisa, cancer is a virus. It's a parasite, and it thinks it's doing a great job. So basically, you have 4 mytoplasms of disease and disorder. One is a hate program. The second, energy in motion, emotion is guilt. And then when you're running resentment and unworthiness, you have the 4 mytoplasms of dis-ease and disorder in the body. It is an energy, just waiting for the immune system to be very tired, and boom, it can kick into a disease or look like a tumor, whatever it looks like.
Now, isn't it true, though, that some of you said you have a program? I mean, how do people even understand that they have a program? Because some of these programs are from past lives that we're actually living. We're walking like I feel like we're ghosts sometimes ourselves, even though we're in the physical, because we're carrying with us things from the etheric and the astral from other lifetimes, and we're acting on them without even knowing where it comes from. We create these feelings and these relationships, and we don't know why certain people are in our lives at certain times, but they could have these memories, these etheric memories of the past, which put us right back into a paradigm. We just aren't taught this. We are not given this kind of information in school, and there's an agenda for that, but it's your kind of knowledge and the things that you're studying, which is what makes it so valuable for all of us to understand who and what we are as human beings, because then we can really heal ourselves from the inside out. And I don't know who it was on the show the other day talking that they talk to their cells and they tell their cells to heal. They tell their cells, they give the cells of their bodies instructions to heal. I don't know if that was Sherry or somebody else or the ambassador, but you really have to give yourself permission. We have to think about things completely differently. We can't keep business as usual. We can't just let the conventional medical industry think that they have the answer for everything, although they have a lot of good answers and they have a lot of good research, but it's not everything, because they only deal with the physical body. They don't deal with the other things, that the esoteric principles and our energy bodies and our etheric bodies, that's not part of medicine. So this is what's holding us back from healing. And if we don't have this component, we're not going to heal. And Louise Hay, who is just a wonderful, wonderful educator and metaphysical teacher, she has said repeatedly that if you don't clear this, the cause of this, it's going to come back. So you really have to clear it, and you have to learn how to do that. So that's extremely, extremely important on doing that. And Radagast, who is also a wizard, he knows about this. I'm not sure when Radagast wants to jump in here, but we'd love to hear from you at some point, because we're all healers here. Rad?
Oh. Well, I really enjoyed. I mean, of course, I enjoyed everything that Bo said, but her bringing up what I guess is kind of called the doctrine of signature, when she said like zucchini is good for the pancreas. Part of that is because zucchini is shaped like a pancreas, and that's called the doctrine of signature. It's how when I put together my hair restorer, I saw that yarrow looked a lot like hair, so I experimented with it, and sure enough, people I shared it with and myself, my hair thickened up. It got thicker. You know, the shafts got thicker. The actual density on my scalp got thicker, and it's all by following the doctrine of signature, like kidney beans looking like kidneys, supporting the kidneys. If you cut a carrot and you look at it, it looks like an iris of an eye. We all know that carrots are good for the eyes. So, again, I support all the things that Bo was saying, but I mean, one of the nicer things and one of the easier things for common people who don't have a lot of esoteric understanding is to understand what's known as the doctrine of signature, that what things look like are kind of clues to what they assist, aid, might add some healing to. And so, I mean, and again, I think that's something that a lot of people can grasp very easily and start employing it in their food choices.
Right, and isn't it just common sense, it seems like? I mean, a kidney bean being good for the kidney. I mean, why aren't we taught this in school? Like, my kids are in elementary school. They don't know about this, but they're the indigo children. They're even smarter than we are. They can just talk to fairies and quantum, and they have access to all of this stuff. And we have to encourage them. We have to encourage them to access this and to live in the non-physical world as well as the physical world. And I'm just curious, why do you think the ambassador is interested in having this technology in his healing centers that he's looking to establish? And I'm just wondering if the ambassador wants to comment about the fact that this is in China, and how are we going to really? Is it easy to get these boxes, these floating boxes, and the water? The water is the key to this. Maybe the ambassador can comment about the.
Yeah, we will be bringing them into both to United States, to Europe, and to other places where we're setting up our healing centers. And I think it's very important to have a complete view, okay, of all this form of technologies, techniques, and knowledge, okay, and not to be so what's called put yourself in the box. And that's what I want to develop here, is that it is important that people can come and have a platform of a discussion to make people think. I know that in the programming of people are so programmed to have an opinion about certain things. So sometimes they will not even listen to it because that's not a part of their programming. So they don't want to listen to what we have to say or what this person have to say. And it's like when I listen to many of the things, I agree with a lot of things. The thing that I wanted to pay attention to, that you were talking about, allowing kids to experiment with fairies and whatever, I think that you have to be extremely careful with this because it's a lot of spirits that are not basically for our good, and they will very easily want to play games with the kids and destroy their life and their soul and everything. And so it's not something that we should encourage. When they have this type of situations, we should be aware of it and support them and try to find out what type of entities are involved in this. It's the same thing that people play around with this type of, like special, table games or whatever they call it.
The Ouija board.
And things like this. This is things you should not play around with. And many people are not spiritually prepared for it. And it's important to be, aware of that. I just wanted to put that in consideration for people. And it's, it's like I hear many people say, they're channeling information from Archangel Michael. But interesting thing, when you listen to this so-called channeling, you could hear this basically demons speaking. It's not Archangel Michael coming out of a channeling, or in some cases even the person having a psychosis. Now, the important thing here, which is important for us to put the attention to with all these technologies, especially with experience of Anna, okay, is that, I like I said before, I saw Anna before and I see her now. And whatever happened in China radiated her, renuviated her, and brought form like a woman attraction magnet type of thing to that comes out. And I think this is, for me, I saw that very visibly when I saw her. I heard also RD, our name Red Dragon, when he was talking about her, how her process was going forward and how she was a staunch worker. I know in other cases of other people that we're also going to have on later, like Montserrat and her husband that was doing the 7 days program, who was vegetarians, by the way, that had so much cleansing and so much toxins and so much thing coming out of them. They were completely exhausted, and they're having stones coming out from their bodies, from the kidneys, from the livers, from the stomach. They were, and sand and all this shit just basically coming out of them. And I think that this is a proper cleansing situation. And I think that the good thing here is to have a good support system. If I would see Anna's blood pressure, when she was doing it, I would call the ambulance and tell her that she is on the edge of having either a heart attack or a brain hemorrhage or something like this, because it's not healthy to have such a high blood pressure. And so I think that, and then it's bringing down, and then it's coming into what she has. I think this is a amazing shift and change in her life. And I think that it's like also what Bo was saying there, that she's a witness to healing. I think this is the most wonderful thing that she said, because people claims to be healers, and I heard that you, Lisa, said that I'm a healer. I don't consider myself as a healer. I did study bone setting, just like the doctor in China, and we have the same training as one, so I could go around and maybe call myself doctor instead of ambassador. But at the same time, I use these techniques to people when they are hurting, but then it's up to them to heal. I'm just an instrument of healing. The ultimate healer is the creator and the person himself. And what I realize is the microsomes in the body, it's also like Bo said, we have an artificial life inside ourselves. People doesn't realize that we're not alone. We have all these thousands of parasites and funguses and cancers, whatever potential cancers in the futures, going around inside our body. We are not aware of them, but they make themselves aware through our emotions. And it's like we're talking about demon possession. I think that maybe this demon possession that was classified as demon possession so fast, maybe it's the parasites, maybe it's the fungus talking to us, because definitely they have their own little wills and their own little emotions, and it affects us. Okay, and also I wanted to now suddenly break the whole thing of the health discussion. I thought it was a wonderful discussion both from both and Anna and everyone in testimony. And I will go a little bit back to the incidents of what's happening around the world very shortly. I'm so far very pleased with what I see happening in United States at the Jubilee meeting, with all the meetings with China and United States. It seems like United States so far is not acting out of retardedness as always. I was very happy to see that actually the Pope finally took some time to meet the sick people and to spend time with the sick people and trying to help them at the Congress. And now I don't say that he was in a hospital, but he was in a spiritual hospital with all the senators and people in the Congress and the people over there. And I think that his speech is mirroring a lot that I was expecting him to do. And I'm happy for that. And I hope that he will continue to walk with God. And I hope that everyone will turn into that. I also saw that China is sending his navy to Syria. and I'm very happy for that. I'm happy that this thing is happening as well as the Russians is already there. Now it's time to clean up this mess once and for all. And also it's time for Saudi Arabia to wake up. I want to also wish all the Muslims around the world an Eid Mubarak for this special occasion. Unfortunately, this special occasion has been traumatized with a lot of people dying, and I will be praying for their souls and give all my deep condolences to all the people and their families. But I want the Muslim world to wake up. Okay, it's time to look ourselves in the mirror and see why is these things happening. And also, it's not the first time these stampedes are happening, but at the same time, it's time to wake up. It's time to stop killing each other. It's stop allowing this type of mindsets that's going around polluting Islam, okay, by that nation where this whole thing is going on. And I see that there's some instability also in the government there in the country. And I hope that the people there will do the right thing and remove the cancer that is inside of Islam and continue to follow the teaching of the Holy Prophet, and peace be on him. And also at the same time, I want to say that I saw that the Finnish people were greeting the refugees today by throwing stones and cocktails and things like that on the refugees coming into Finland. I think it's time for the Finnish people. Okay, I know that you guys are staunch characters and quite doesn't like foreign people, whatever. But the time when Russia was actually at that time, or Soviet Union was attacking you guys in this long, long war and battle, and you succeeded to kill over 5 million Russian people, and the population today is 5 million. It was a lot of refugees that came to other countries from Finland. And I think it's time for you guys to remember the past. And would you guys, wouldn't like to be greeted and supported during time? I believe Sweden failed as a nation to support the Finnish people during that war, but they took in a lot of refugees. And at the same time, I think that the Finnish people has a great spirit, and it's time for you to use that spirit. Go back to the time of your ancestors and actually, behave in a manner that doesn't shame their great contributions to freedom. And now you guys have been living for a long time, and now you don't remember the suffering of what happened in the past. But if you study the past, I believe that when these refugees fled Finland to protect themselves, I think that they were greeted by their neighbors. And also it was a lot of people that freely joined the battle, including my family, to fight the Russians at that time on behalf of Finland. And I think that at this point of time, we need to have solidarity to all forms of people that are in need. And to greet them with stone throwing and other type of things that you have been doing is shameful. You should be ashamed of yourselves that is involved in this type of things. And I think, again, that's important that the Pope and also because he's a spiritual leader that talks to a lot of Christians that has been behind so much tyranny for over 2,000 years. And I saw this rabbi that was celebrating, so happy for what's happening with refugee crisis. It's finally time for a payback to Europe. I think that we should stop being so judgmental and happy for other people suffering. Because whatever you wish for others might return to yourself tenfold. And I think that it's time for us now to repent. And I think that everyone should repent. And especially I was very happy to see that Boner finally resigned. He has nothing to do in any office. He's demon possessed. And if you look at the photos when he was standing beside the Pope, it was quite obvious that the demon jumped into him. And I'm happy that finally he leaves the thing. And I think that a lot of others should follow in his footsteps and leave the politics and basically resign or go to jail. And I think that is very important. And I'm happy. And I want to congratulate also the grand opening of the mosque in Moscow by Putin. And that also you see reconciliation. It was a war between Russia and Chechnya, and a lot of people died, and we had terrorist attacks happening. And now you have this great mosque and all the Muslim leaders meeting there. And we have a reconciliation between the Orthodox Christians and the Muslims. Maybe the Protestants and the Catholics should follow the same footstep, reconciliate, and same thing with the Jewish people. Maybe they should reconciliate with their brothers, the Muslims, the Arabs, the cousins. And when basically, Isaac, okay, and Ishmael, when these two people are joined back together, we will have the Messiah, okay? We will have the new era. And I think it's time for us to reconciliate. These three religions has traumatized the planet too long time. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. There's been no more violent religion on the face of the planet. And I believe it's time for us now to come together, and all of us, and reconciliate and follow the values of these belief systems. And, and people now criticizing the Pope, they want to crucify him for all different type of reasons, especially the Vatican themselves. And I think that we should go around and support him for whatever he says. I really hope it's from the heart, and that we'll continue to follow it. And the rest of the evil ones, the demon-possessed pastors and priests that are filling up the churches with demons all around the world, it's time for them to repent, ask for forgiveness, go down on your knees and ask for forgiveness, and cast out the idols in your lives, okay? And basically, it's very important for us today to reflect on ourselves. We have this blood moon coming and whatever, and I believe that we should move into this. Stop thinking about the rapture. What I'm talking about the rapture here is that someone else have to save yourself all the time. Save yourselves. Start yourself by putting an example to others. Okay? And this is my final message here on the end of this program from my side here, is that we should try to lead as an example to all other people and show humility, treat people the way that you would yourself like to be treated. It's time to end financial tyranny. It's time to end tyranny in all, okay? And I think that the war on ignorance needs to be fought. And the only reason why these negative energies are able to be fed on the planet is because of all ignorance. And now, it's time for us to jump out of a fishbowl into the sea of knowledge and basically set ourselves free, and at the same time show humility and love to everyone. God bless you all, and thank you for everything.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ambassador. That was a very good message. Thanks for giving us an update on what's going on, because we do need to put things into perspective, and you do help us do that. And also, in the spirit of Global Mission of Peace, that's really what this mission is all about, and to embrace these these concepts and to unite these religions together, to put our differences down, to erase these imaginary borders between us and boundaries between us, whether they be from country to country, or whether they be spiritual, meaning from one religion to another, and just unite as brothers and sisters on this planet, because we really have no other choice. We have to do this. And I wanted to also say that I do agree. I think anytime, especially when you're dealing with children, it's very important to guide your children and know at all times, because we are multidimensional beings ourselves. So we're not just living in the physical plane, we are living in multidimensional planes. And so our children do have access to this. And the thing to do is to be a good guide for the children, so that they do, as the ambassador was saying, so that they understand what they're dealing with, because you can't pretend it doesn't exist. So children do tend to see these things. And I just want to thank Anna for sharing her story, and I want to thank Bo for coming on. We're going to have Bo back, and she has so much information to share. As I had mentioned earlier, we're going to have modules regarding this kind of information available on our cbcglobaleducation.com website. You can also go to our home website, which is www.globalmissionofpeace.com, and you can also follow us on Facebook. We've finally got our Facebook page going. And if anyone also, you obviously know, you can follow the GoldFish Report on our YouTube channel under Global Mission of Peace, or you can follow us on thegoldfishreport.com. And I just want to ask anyone if they have any closing comments before we conclude our edition of this report. Sherry? No.
Sorry, I got to unmute myself.
You're muted, sorry.
No, yeah.
Problem.
I mean, it was so wonderful to hear the ambassador. I definitely want to re-listen to that. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for your words. And yes, I think it's really important for us to drop the borders, you know, the imaginary borders that we have, and to help our brothers and sisters. We just have to do that. It's simple as that. And then I just wanted to really appreciated the listening to Anna today, and listening to our guest Bo. And I've had the great fortune to meet in person and interview Dr. Emoto, and he talks about how water does have a consciousness, you know, and that's so powerful. I think that's sort of a common thread that ties us all together, one of the common threads. But I just wanted to sort of close in sharing something that yesterday I went into a chiropractic's office who's very holistic, and I went to pick up the vaccine. You know, we're in the state of California fighting a little battle to not be have our religious and our personal exemptions taken away for vaccines for our children. And so we walked into this office, and my daughter was with me, you know, to pick up the ballots. And she goes, "Oh, it smells so nice. It's so lovely. You know, the essential oils and everything, and the whole vibe." And I thought to myself, wow, you walk into that vibe that's Mother Earth, that's natural, that's things that make us feel good and feel safe and not have fear, and compare that to walking into a medical building where the lights are bright and everyone's dressed in a certain way, and you can smell pharmaceuticals. And it's like, it just hit me, you know, the juxtaposition there of, you know, what we're dealing with. But I have such hope and such, I'm so encouraged by the shift that we're coming into right now. And, you know, I just want to share that great hope for everyone, discussing these things that the ambassador is talking about with the healing modalities, and, you know, what Anna has to share with us today, and Bo. So thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. And did Anna or Bo or Radagast have any other comments, any closing comments you'd like to make? You don't have to, but if you do.
No, I just wanted to say, you know, it was a great show. I really enjoyed every part of it. Anna's testimony, Bo sharing her knowledge with us, and of course the ambassador with a great message for all of us. And it was just a great show.
Very good. Thanks. And we just want to thank you for watching this edition of GoldFish Report. And you know where you can follow us. And this concludes this edition of GoldFish Report. Thanks for joining us.